You said what now?
What seems to happen at the end of each year is I feel obligated to make a top 10 list of my favourite movies that were released said year. So here's that. Enjoy, I guess, or not. I'm not the boss of you, the boss baby of you. Look, I'll just give you a hint. Boss Baby was not one of my favourite movies of the year. And already from the beginning of this list, I'm going to cheat because I really have a definitive 11 favourites and I just couldn't decide on which one to kick out. And you know what? It's my list. Who says that I have to? So fitting in nicely together at number 10 sits Only the Brave and Star Wars The Last Jedi. That's right, I liked Star Wars. I thought it was a fantastic new take on the franchise and it impacted it in some pretty cool new ways. However, it never really took away from the saga itself and overall felt very Star Warsy. That's a word, shut up. The Last Jedi was just about the very epic and comedic blockbuster that I was hoping for. I know a lot of people are hating on this at the moment, but look, I'm not one of those people. I loved it, and it's up there as one of my favourite movies of the series. It made some bold decisions, it had an extravagant display of beautiful action, and it made me feel all warm and fuzzy inside, like I was 6 and watching Spider-Man for the first time or something. It was good, okay? You get it. Also coming in at number 10, because I'm a goddamn dirty top 10 list cheat, is Only the Brave, which was a fantastic and grounded emotional roller coaster. It's an interesting and moving piece on biographical cinema. You should probably see it, but I talked about it exclusively in my last video, so I'm going to shut up about it right about now. 9. Wind River is nothing short of a masterpiece. Though slow, though largely sort of uneventful, and though simple, Wind River is a heart-wrenching and downright amazing piece of cinema. It definitely deserved to make it on this list. It's got some surprises, it's not afraid to be horribly dark at times, and it makes for one hell of a showcase for its stars. Hey, Get Out is one of those movies that just has it all. It has something to say, and so it feels as though it has some societal significance. It's got dark humor, which is something that's often hard to pull off, and it's a straight-up new horror film that actually went mainstream, which is more rare than not. Get Out invests you in its protagonist and exploits that throughout. It cleverly plays with its pieces patiently, knocking you down bit by bit. And although it may not be the screaming out loud kind of scary, although you may not be jumping out of your seat during every second scene, and although it won't keep you up at night in the haunted ghost type of way, well, it's the most unsafe I felt for a character in film in 2017. Get Out was definitely not a letdown. 7. The Big Sick is primarily dramatic, let's be honest. It can be hilarious at times, it can have you freaking choking on laughter, but The Big Sick is more than that. It's heartbreaking, it's thoughtful. The Big Sick is emotionally thorough as it explores the different aspects of relationships and the particularly strange dynamic of the characters' ones in this film. The Big Sick is interesting in that way, and although on the surface it may look like just any old rom-com, well, The Big Sick actually isn't that. It's better, it's more than that. It's got the laughs, it's got the feels, and it's even got sickly adorable moments, but mostly what makes this film so good is that it feels so very real. After all, this is based on a true story. 6. Okay, so sorry if this doesn't count, and I'm cheating on my list here because, look, technically this film came out on like December 20 of 2016 or something, but I didn't see it till 2017. It wasn't released here until then, so for me it totally counts. Patriots Day is a harrowing film that takes you through the events of the Boston Marathon bombing, and it's a heavy one. Patriots Day was so good that I saw it in cinemas for a second time the very next day, which is something I pretty much never do. Patriots Day makes you care for its various characters and isn't afraid to be honest and at times extremely miserable. But if you're feeling like that type of movie, well, I'd highly recommend it. 5. The Disaster Artist is easily one of the most odd films on this list, and if you don't know its origins, it would probably seem even more odd and confusing. The Disaster Artist is based on a book, which is based on a film from 2003 called The Room, starring a mysteriously strange and eccentric man named Tommy Wiseau. The film has since gained cult classic status and has also become a bit of an internet meme because it's so insanely terrible. Many believing it's so bad that it actually comes around to being good again.
You're lying! I never hit you! You are tearing me apart, Lisa!
The Disaster Artist tells the story of the making of said film, and it's hilarious. It makes sense of what exactly was going on throughout the filmmaking process, and it explains how some of these terrible decisions behind the film were made. But it's also surprisingly a whole lot more than just an interesting and comedic look at a bad film. It also tells the story of Tommy and his co-star slash best friend, Greg Sestero, and their friendship is honestly touching, yet also conflicting. And the question that the film brings up behind success and what exactly that is goddamn ingenious. I absolutely love The Disaster Artist. 4. Logan just takes it out of you. If you're looking for some cheap superheroic fun, steer clear. Go watch any of the other films that feature Wolverine. Logan takes it in a much more daunting and bleak direction. It's riveting. Logan doesn't take the cliche X-Men approach, it goes for something new for the genre. This film is at times sickly violent, at times emotionally draining, and at times heartwarming. And though it's been said a million times before, I'm gonna be the one to have to say it again here, because Logan isn't just good for a superhero movie, it's not only a shining example of what its genre can be. As dumb as it sounds, Logan is just a good film in general. You don't have to be an X-Men fan, you don't have to know shit about comic books or Marvel. Logan is just a fantastic piece of cinema all on its own. Alright, here we go, top 3. There is absolutely no way this one wasn't gonna get included on my list. Spider-Man Homecoming is definitely up there as one of my favorite movies of this year. And I may be biased due to my extreme love for the character, but this really is a great one. Spider-Man Homecoming just portrays the character in such a great way. It feels so very Spider-Man. He's a bit of a smart-ass guy, but he's also very shy and also very clearly just a kid. He's still at school, has to battle with the different levels of responsibility between that and being a superhero. And just in general, Tom Holland does such a good job as the character. He has an enticing energy to him. I love that the movie is also like half a comedy. But most of all, I just love that Spider-Man Homecoming is just very fun. It takes you for a ride through some insanely cool action, and of course has some great laughs too. Number 2, okay, step out of the way, disaster artist, because if we're talking Strange, Mother takes the freaking cake and destroys it, like with a hammer, and then it turns out that the cake was like a metaphor for your consciousness or your soul or something. Look, it's some artistic, allegorical, complicated shit is what I'm saying, and I love every minute of it. Trying to figure out what the hell is going on is exhilarating, but not just that, Mother is probably the most insane film I saw all year. It made me truly uncomfortable. I don't know if the film counts as a horror film, but in a way it was like the scariest movie I saw this year. It's just so in your face and confident. It's not afraid to be weird. It doesn't stop to think about the logic behind things, and it certainly doesn't hold your hand throughout any of it. I'd say Mother definitely requires an acquired taste, and if you don't like it, well, I can definitely see where you're coming from. It's definitely an odd film, and it makes sense why it was so divisive. It's controversial, it's odd, it's loud, it's crazy, it's even kind of silly, and if you ask me, Mother is also fantastic. My personal favourite film of the year, number 1, is Baby Driver. Without a doubt. I don't even have to think about it that hard. I just know. Baby Driver is just so fun and so over the top at times. It's so energetic. I just can't get enough. It's not boring, not for 1 second, and I absolutely love the rhythmic timing that it's all based upon. Edgar Wright is one of those visionary directors of this cinematic generation, and he does not let us down here. Baby Driver is funny, but it's not exactly a comedy like Edgar Wright's other films are, but makes up for that with its engrossing as hell story, the cool musical vibe, and its greatly directed action set pieces. The movie's also kind of cartoony too, but that gives it all the more charm. Baby Driver is just amazing in pretty much every single way that I can think of, and yet it's definitely my favourite movie of 2017. So let me know what you thought about this list and tell me what your favourites were, and you know, all that blah blah blah.